Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God Chapter 437, or Season 3 Episode 20. I say it every time, it gets more and more complex keeping up with all the numbers. But this is once again a very, I guess you could call it typical Tower of God chapter, in that there was a lot of content. Tower of God's typically content heavy, and I was just thinking as I set up my recording and everything, that it's like, there's a part of me that absolutely loves that, because my scatterbrain loves when we jump around, we see a little bit of everything, get a little bit of everything, and we just keep the story going that way. But there's another part of me that thinks on the week to week, it might be better if sort of chapters had just a central focus where you can say, okay, this is the story of this chapter. This is the story that this chapter is telling. Maybe if rather than just little bits of Dang Dang story and little bits of maybe just a few panels of Bomb and Karaka story here and there, if we just had a chapter focusing on Dang Dang story, a chapter focusing on the Bomb and Karaka and Yama stuff, maybe that could have been a better way to tell the story. Yeah, that's just something I'm thinking out loud, just extemporaneously right here. So maybe that could have made it even better. So again, it's one of those things that it's not good or bad. It's because I love that Tower of God is paced the way that it is, because it makes it so that no particular week ever necessarily feels boring, because we're jumping around and seeing all this different stuff. But at the same time, maybe from a writing perspective, it could come off as better if things were paced differently. So I don't know, just something that I was thinking about out loud while I set up my recording stuff. But yeah, either way, I feel like there's not much deep discussion to have on a lot of the things that happened. More just, there's a ton that happened, so let's recap it all and give general thoughts on it. But I'm not sure how deep any point is needing to go into a deep discussion. But I'll see. I'll see as we go back through this. So starting off, we have Doom just little yip barking the fourth leader away, just blowing her completely away. But at least she's probably alive. Now, of course, I was like, oh yeah, of course, when she charged him, I was like, of course, how could I forget? Any good design has to die. But no, she's probably alive at least. She just got little yipped away by tiny little yappy dog Doom. So from there on, Rack crumbles the wall behind them to provide a distraction so that he and Kun can try to run out of there, grab Apple in the Fang and the Fang within Kun's lighthouse, I would presume. So we cut away from that before we get to see how it goes at that point, though. So again, yeah, maybe if this was all told as one story, maybe that could even be better. It almost makes me wish there was like an alternate edited together version where it was paced like that, so I could compare. I could see like, okay, did I like it better this way, or did I like it better when I saw just all of the Bomb and Karaka storyline told in one chunk, all of the Dang Dang story told in one chunk, all of this told in one chunk? Would that make me, would I find that better or not? I wish I could compare the two. But we jump away from there to see Tall just noping it out of there, just being like, oh shit, Yama's awake, I'm gone. And I love Yama here. I think the best part of this to me was Yama's story and the general feeling of it. I like that Yama here isn't just this big, confident, sort of macho guy that loves to fight like he sort of came off as to begin with in the arc. I like more here that just his posture and the way he was drawn and the way he was framed, he seemed really somber, and I really, really liked that. He had a very somber feeling to his character. Like, yeah, well, I'm gonna go and try to take out the Elder because he betrayed me, and once I deal with that, I'm gonna have to come back and probably kill my brother. So I like that he was a character that felt trapped in the story that he was leading, and it had a somber feeling to it. I really, really liked that. But Yama was like, I can body Paul any day. You throw 100 Pauls at me, I can kick their ass. But Doom is a bit different. I can beat him, of course, but I can't kill him, and capturing him probably won't work a second time. So I might have to kill him, even though I can't kill him, or it's the death of my people. And we get a bit of backstory on that with the three brothers and Doom being the leader. He could make people into canine people by passing on his power of transformation. And because he could pass that on to people, he built up the sort of nation or clan of the canine people. Now, the other thing that came into play was that using the Fang, Doom can control the canine people. So FUG wanted to make him into a Slayer because, well, to be a Slayer, I would assume that means that he has some way, because of his special powers or the specialness of his powers, he has some way to break the immortality contract like the rest of the Slayers, because that seems to be the key thread between Slayers, where Bomb is an irregular, Grace Merche Luzlek is part of the Grace family, so presuming that they're an irregular as well, since they are a relative of Arlen Grace. And then same goes with Karaka, has whatever sort of Zahard Prince powers go that could maybe allow them to break the rules. And get into Yama, and it seemed like blood fusion was what was going to allow them to break the rules. But instead, I suppose it's this canine power because we know that they're special. We don't know where they came from, but we know that whatever their power is, it's a very special and different thing. Which kind of makes you wonder, why isn't the powers of the ancient special and different? Why not make Kel Helaman or Evankel into Slayers? But again, to be a Slayer, you have to be able to take down one of the 10 families, so I guess Doom somehow had the ability to do so. But FUG mainly wanted him to be able to build up a force of using the canine people as soldiers, as mindless, mind-controlled soldiers. So even though Paul was totally in on it with them, Yama fought back against the two of them. He didn't want all their people to turn into mindless soldier slaves. So he fought back, he banished Paul, he took Doom's heart somehow when he locked Doom away in the cage. Again, this heart-taking stuff doesn't really make sense with the lore we've seen so far, but we'll just have to go with it. Which makes me wonder, is maybe the soul-stirring ladle similar to whatever they have that allows them to remove or move people's hearts? The same going with them sharing around Doom's power, without Doom himself consenting to it. But either way, basically without Doom, the canine people, since Doom was captured and his heart was taken, without him there, the canine people started dying off, because generation to generation, as the canine people had children, the power would get weaker and weaker. So Yama became a Slayer in Doom's place in exchange for the workshop making a device that could be used to share Doom's power. And so he shared around Doom's power to build back up the canine people. And he also created the combat dogs. I was trying to, my brain was trying to fuse combat and created. So he created the combat dogs so that his people wouldn't have to become mindless soldiers. He just offered the combat dogs up instead as some sort of soulless creations. So again, there were some people bringing up that the morality behind that's kind of sketchy. But here's the thing, I don't necessarily see Yama as a good person. It's not that Yama is like, oh no, I can't possibly kill or hurt people. It's that he just doesn't want his people to become mindless slaves. He doesn't mind if they have to go extinct. He doesn't mind if he has to make soulless combat dogs. He doesn't mind if he has to kill his own brother. But he doesn't want his people to become mindless slaves. So he has his motivations, and his morality isn't just completely good guy or anything. He just has one set of good motivations that he cares about, even if other things don't matter to him as much, moral-wise. But he lied to his people, said the power came from him and not from Doom. And he mentions there that, of course, the power gets weaker through generations, which is why Deng Deng was so special, or at least he thought Deng Deng was so special, but that was probably part of Gado's master plan, of course, putting the heart into him. And it was then that I had realized, because he was like, that's why Deng Deng was so special, but it must have been because he had Doom's heart put in him. It made me realize So wait, did he just misplace Doom's heart? Like, he took his heart from him, and that seems like it would be an incredibly important thing to keep track of, but he just misplaced it to the point where Gato could get it and put it in Dang Dang, and he didn't notice for a bit there. He, like, until now, he's like, yeah, it makes sense. He must have had Doom's heart in him. So, to a point, he probably could have somewhat had his suspicions, but it just made me think, wait, so Yama just misplaced Doom's heart? He just didn't notice that it was missing to be in Dang Dang? But either way, he basically gives the ultimatum, the rock and the hard place that he's stuck between, of either Doom stays here, and if he stays here, he's going to take back over, because he's the one that can give out the power and everything, and control the canine people. So either he stays here, and he makes all the canine people into mindless slaves for FUG, or he has to kill Doom, and the canine people are going to go extinct. So that's what he's stuck between. He's stuck between, does he allow his people to be made into mindless slaves that are mind-controlled? Or does he just sort of lead them to their extinction, but free and extinct? Or free and facing extinction. So he isn't quite sure which way he should go with things. And even then, the whole extinction thing, it's not like they're necessarily going to die off. It's just that they're going to have less and less canine power until they don't have canine power anymore, really. So, yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. The morality, again, it's still questionable, but it's not that it's a morally good thing, it's that it's something Yama cares about. But yeah, Bomb suggests a challenge instead of a fight. He's like, well, if you're stuck between that and that, why not just challenge Doom and make him be true to his words in a challenge instead of a fight where you would have to kill him? So Karaka agrees because he's like, okay, if we can pull this off, then Yama and his people will sort of be indebted to us and want to help us more, and that can help us free Jinsung, which is Karaka's big thing, is wanting to honor or free Jinsung. So Yama says that he's going to go find the Elder, and if Doom gets the Fang and the ability to control the canine people back, he's going to have to kill him, whether it means the extinction or not. And again, I just love the somberness of Yama's character. And another thing I didn't mention till here at the end, Jordan was listening in during all this. So Jordan has a lot of information now too. And I think that, of course, like a lot of people are saying, yes, the man crush on Bomb, he's probably going to want to work with Bomb even more, knowing all of this, that Bomb is trying to help save the canine people in his own way. So I really, really do think that Jordan, again, would be one of the people at risk. Jordan, either his people go extinct, or he becomes one of the mindless servants. So of course he's one of the people that would be most affected by Bomb wanting to save everyone. So it makes sense that he'd want to help him. But then we finally go back to Doom cutting off Kun and Rak's escape, and Ship and Hatsu come in with the leaders who were off screen and we don't get to see them yet. From there, though, we get back to the Kel Helaman Evankel stuff, which I think is great. Kel Helaman shoots through Evankel's flames. Basically, again, they seem so important, so cool, so powerful, and them shooting straight through Evankel's flames after we've seen how powerful Evankel is just sets up Kel Helaman as being so strong. But the arrows keep circling around them. And the arrows seem like portals. I noticed this on the reread because Kel Helaman shoots an arrow behind himself after he shoots the two that circle around them. He shoots an arrow behind himself that he gives his little "you're not the only one with ancient powers" speech, and then he gets sucked into that arrow to go away. So the arrow is basically kind of like a portal, or if water is his element, it's like a water slide. So he has these water slide arrows that he gets sucked into to fast travel away. So that's how he gets out of there. He also mentions, though, that his plan is to kill Bomb and Yama and to replace them. And I get him wanting to support Doom and maybe saying, you know, I can't have both Doom and Yama because of the conflict there, so I might have to get rid of Yama to keep Doom. But it really seems like Bomb is an incredibly valuable asset to be throwing away like that. So maybe to FUG, Bomb just isn't as pricey or as worthy as we view him as. as an irregular. Maybe they're like, he's an irregular, but that's not enough to make him so worthwhile that they don't have multiple people that just want to kill him. So it is interesting, I suppose. Then again, there's the chance that maybe they don't know he's an irregular, but it kind of feels like they should have put some things together by now, especially if, say, Garam knew about it. But yeah, either way. From there, we've got, I guess that was it. Yeah, it ends at a really weird place with Evankel getting sucked into one of the arrows, so I'm assuming Yuan Sung's just going to get sucked into the other one. So yeah, I wonder what element he has. The arrows, I make the water slides joke, but the arrows don't really seem to be any particular element that I can tell. So I think the arrows are their own thing. So I'm wondering what his element will actually be, because I believe the 5 we saw were fire, water, earth, plants, I guess. Maybe it means life, but plants is the 4th, and some crystal-y thing which might be ice or it might be crystal, but there's no way to really tell either way. So I would think maybe ice, but it could be crystal. Who knows? The elements getting a little bit weird in this scenario. But yeah, I like Yama's story in general. There was nothing really in the blog to report. It was really short this week. Everything, I think... See, here's the thing. I think everything in this chapter was good in general. And if Season 3 was like the start of Tower of God, we had never seen Tower of God anymore, and this was a just completely new series, and we were just being thrown into it, I would think this is going pretty well. I think the only one negative that's kind of a big negative, the only thing that brings this story down right now, is that a lot of things just aren't really consistent and don't really fit in with the previous story of Tower of God. Like, especially the, like, obvious things like I don't even know if retconning's the right word, but just completely forgetting about Yama's story and writing something totally different for it. So, again, I don't know. I feel like if Season 3 was just on its own, disconnected from the rest of Tower of God, I'd be like, oh, this is a good, cool new story. The only thing that makes it feel off, and I think is sort of the general central crux of so many people's, including my own, criticisms, is that some things just don't really fit in with the rest of Tower of God. Like, you read it and some things just don't really fit in. So yeah, or like the transformations not being explained, or the heart stuff. Yeah, that's just it. So many things just don't really fit in that well with what we've learned and what we've seen so far in the story and the way it's been written. So I guess that's the one big negative. But in general, like I said, the chapter itself was good. I don't really have any complaints about the chapter itself. In fact, I'd give it 7.5 water slide arrows out of 10. I really do like Kel Helaman, though. Kel Helaman is really, really cool. I think they feel important, they feel like a good villain, they have a good design. And this ancient stuff is interesting. I think, to me, it doesn't seem like they are an ancient like Rack. It seems more like they're doing whatever Evankel's doing, where they're using an ancient's power, or using the power of the ancients, rather than being one. But I assume that's going to definitely get an explanation later on. That's something that we're just kind of being hinted at for now, but it's going to be explained more later on. But yeah, that's it for this week's video. Like if you did like the video, and comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it, and all that. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel, and follow on Twitter if you want, and I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. If you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us there, then just ask and I can give you a link. And if you want to help support the channel on Patreon, link will be in the description, and the patrons are going to get to vote very, very soon for the first new series on Sundays. Patrons are going to get to throw in suggestions, and then from those suggestions vote on what they want to see on Sundays, and then every 3 months I'll swap that out for something else on Sundays, or if you want me to continue the thing I'm already doing, just vote for that again and I'll continue it. So yeah, that's the way we're going to do. So new series coming on Sunday very soon, maybe in the next week or two. and the voting on that'll probably be around this week-ish. So yeah, that's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.